All right, you are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Pillar 3 committee meeting this afternoon, January 21st. I am Olivia Pearson, co-chair of the committee, and I'd like the other committee members to introduce themselves, starting with the co-chair, Mr. Murray.
Good afternoon, everyone. And for those that have not had the opportunity to wish Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I'm Kirkland Murray. I am the local workforce development director for Anne Arundel County, Maryland, and president of the Maryland Workforce Association, which is association of the 13 workforce boards in the state of Maryland. Dave?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Kirkland. Dave Harper, Chesapeake College, serving 5 counties, community college serving 5 counties on Maryland's beautiful Eastern Shore. Nona?
Hey, good afternoon. Nona Carroll, Deputy Director and Chief Program Officer at the Maryland Business Roundtable for Education. We serve the districts statewide. Robin?
Hi, everyone. Robin Werner, Director of Teaching and Learning for Talbot County Public Schools. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to pass it on. I've lost track. I'm always really bad at that.
Isha?
Yeah, I can go.
I'm so
Hi.
sorry, Isha. I mess that up every time.
No worries. Hi, everyone. My name is Isha. I'm the student member for Pillar 3 of the AIB. And I can pass it on to Libby.
Hi, everybody. My name is Libby Diamond. I'm a policy analyst with the AIB. I support pillars 3 and 2 and a little bit of 1. So I'm happy to be here. Do we have any other members that have not gotten a chance to introduce themselves? Okay, Olivia, I'll pass it back over to you unless it's still my turn.
No, we have several invited guests this afternoon, so I'd love for them to have a chance to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Christy Dreyer. She comes to most of our meetings. I don't know if she's still a guest. So, Christy, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and then passing it to another invited guest, excuse me.
I think I still qualify as a guest. I'm Christy Dreyer, Vice President of Academic Programs at Cecil College and the current chair of the academic VPs for the community colleges in Maryland. And Happy New Year. Kurt's Happy New Year. And I'm going to turn it over to Kurt Hoffman.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kurt Hoffman, Senior Vice President, Instructional and Student Affairs. And it's great to see live human beings, flesh and blood, because we hear about AIB and what goes on in this abstract, nebulous kind of reference. But to see everybody here, smiley faces, and apparently maybe even passionate about the work that we're doing. So it's great to see you today. Did I throw it to Dave now? No? Do I just keep going?
We're going to throw it to one of our other invited guests. So I'm going to start with Miss Tamisha Lau.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon. I am Tamisha Lau, the 3D Scholar Program Coordinator, and also very excited about sharing a student testimonial experience a little later in the meeting. Thank you.
Sarah?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sarah Prince, Director of Recruitment and Admissions at Prince George's Community College, and happy to be here for this meeting.
Danielle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Danielle Haynes, an account manager at University of Maryland Global Campus. We are also a PG 3D Scholars Program partner. Happy to be here, happy to share this exciting program that we offer our Prince George's Public School students. And I'll pass it over to Emily Ferguson.
Thanks, Danielle. Emily Ferguson. I'm Assistant Vice President at University of Maryland Global Campus. with Danielle, work on the 3D Scholars Program.
Thank you. Okay, now for our AIB update. So back to Libby.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so AIB updates. As you all know, 2025 legislative system has started. It's underway. Lots happening. We will provide updates as we have them for this committee. And so just stay tuned and for more future updates. A couple of things specific to Pillar 3. The career counseling and the reports have been submitted. They are under review and LEAs will receive feedback on those. The 9th grade tracker is posted. MSDE submitted their 9th grade tracker report, and that is available on the AIB website. It does include attendance by LEA, although there is no chronic absenteeism data included. And then finally, on the AIB side of things, we have hired a director of government relations, and they will be starting later this week. So we're excited to have that position filled. I think that's it for today. I'll hand it back over to Olivia.
Okay, awesome. And so now we're going to really talk about the role of community college in Pillar 3. So we will turn it over to Dave and Kurt.
So Dave, you want to, as
Yes.
the community college representative, you want to take the lead on this?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And can you see this this chart with extremely tiny font? Okay, good. It isn't necessary to be able to read all the words, but we've kind of agreed as a subcommittee, the Pillar 3 subcommittee, to occasionally explain the context of our discussions. So for this discussion, which will have a couple of features, we look at the orange section. For example, in CCR pathways, Pillar 3 has 3 different sections, 3.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4. 3.1 is the college and career readiness standard by which 10th graders are evaluated. Keeping students on track has to do with how LEAs measure progress. And the CCR pathways in orange is where you have a lot of community college support and partnership with the workforce boards and with LEAs. For example, LEAs provide an individualized plan and program of study that allows 11th and 12th grade students to graduate high school, career and college ready. Those individual plans could include some CTE programs that community colleges might help provide. They could include dual enrollment classes with transcripted credits, high school students earning college credits, even up to an associate degree. And that also includes accelerated pathways, and as we've said, even up to an associate degree or an industry recognized credential that a community college may partner with an LEA to provide. And part of that kind of leaks down into 3.4, the gray section, where you see 45% of high school students complete a registered apprenticeship or earn an industry recognized credential. Community colleges can help increase capacity either for the in-kind instruction for apprenticeships, the related instruction for apprenticeships, or for the IRCs, industry recognized credentials. So with that very brief overview, we're kind of looking at that partnership, the role of community colleges. I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Kurt Hoffman from Allegheny College of Maryland. Who's just a leader in the field, and Allegheny certainly is in terms of their innovation and partnership, not only for Blueprint, but also for early college and dual enrollment. And CTE, or career and technological education credentialing. This is really impressive labs and partnerships with local municipalities and school systems. So just grateful for your time. Dr. Hoffman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And probably the best accolade is I'm also friends with Christy and Dave. So if you like them, there's a chance you may think favorably upon me as well. Thanks for inviting me here. There are lots of things. I'm sure, like everybody else, working with your LEA, you probably have some out-of-the-box thinking and some innovation that you're trying under the guise of the blueprint. We are no different. I humbly offer you 3 ideas that we've come up with and that we're doing that we're kind of proud of because of what I would say is one of the mandates of the blueprint, which I think it's questionable at this point whether we're truly hitting it, which is that access issue. Are we promoting access to students that wouldn't have normally gone on to higher education? So are we getting those? We know we're already getting those that are more likely to go on to higher ed. So what about the ones that aren't thinking about it? They may not think it's for them. They may not be confident in their scholastic abilities. So how can we reach out to them and help them see that higher education and a ladder of opportunity is there for them? And so in our community, we are very poor. We are very rural. You know, we're out in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. So that is our population. So the 3 things I'm going to kind of highlight for you today, and hopefully not to take too much time, but to describe it enough that you get an idea of it, and then you can ask me questions. And if I don't have the answers, I will get them to you. But I think I have the answers for them. So the 3 that we have, the first one is a program that we're calling CHEER. It was the brainchild of our LEA, our liaison with the LEA, and CHEER stands for Creating Higher Education Experiences and Readiness. And basically, this is for seniors who are on an IEP that, with a little bit of assistance, guidance, and support, could be taking college level classes. And we don't normally get them because they feel that they're stupid and that they can't succeed in college. And so what it took, the idea came to me and I said, we will dedicate a classroom for it. So we have a classroom that is ACPS's classroom. They bus the students in. They have a teacher that is there for them. They all have coursework that they're doing for the high school, but they also take an orientation class through us. They take math classes, and all of them, and there's about 7 to 8 students in there, all of them are taking college classes during their day. So they are taking classes like general psych, speech, computer literacy, introduction to criminal justice, probability and statistics, Thanatos, death and dying, sociology, elements of math, and a student development course. So what we're doing is that idea of mainstreaming. They are no different than our students. They go to their classroom, they're in high school, but once they go to a college class, they're a college student. And so they have lunch here, they stay here, and what we're seeing are these students, these 7 or 8, and we've been doing this for 3 years now. We're on our 3rd cohort. What we're seeing is that they come back to us and they're progressing towards their degree. So a demographic that we wouldn't normally have gotten, that may not have gone on to higher ed, they would probably gone on to the workforce. We're getting on campus and building up their confidence and working with them, and we're seeing success from it. So we're incredibly proud of that. And we go celebrate them as much as we can at the end of the year, because it's just a proud moment for them, their families, and for us. Any questions on the CHEER program?
I would love to hear, and I don't know if you want to take the question now or at the end, but how you're able to work with students and their IEPs with the college professors.
Yeah. So they are intimately tied with our Academic Disability Resource Center. So in essence, they have their teacher who's there, but then they are also filed with our office, because that's the office that communicates all the IEPs and all the accommodations that have to happen. So we work in lockstep, almost seamless. It's kind of impressive because we have 2 totally different systems, 2 totally different bureaucracies, but they totally unify in their services and support for the students. So at the college level, you usually have to self-identify. That's what triggers it. So we tell the students that you're going to have to do that. You're an adult here, and take charge of that and communicate that to your instructors, and they do. And I'm sure that there's a little bit of prodding. I'm sure Mr. Twig, who is the ACPS instructor of record, probably encourages them to make sure that they self-disclose to their faculty members. But what we see is that the faculty members are more than willing to help with the accommodations and make sure that the students are successful. Did that answer it, Dr. Pearson?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions on that first part, the cheer program?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So kind of to follow up on Olivia's question, do your staff also, like, are they invited to IEP meetings sometimes with, like, how close in step are they, I guess, is my question.
I'm not sure if they're invited to meetings. That I can't verify for sure, but I do know that they're communicating from office to office. So if there's a question that comes up, our office is calling them about the student and having discussions of, okay, what does that mean for our classes and what would that look like? And then we're making it and making sure it gets accommodated. So there's regular, transparent communication. I would venture to guess that they might be sitting on the IEP meetings. I just can't verify that for sure. I do know the communication happens afterwards.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Just a quick note here to say that, Dr. Kerwin once said Pillar 3 is at the heart of the blueprint legislation. And this example you've just given, Kurt, is at the heart of Pillar 3, which is expanding access. So I thank you for choosing to highlight it that way. Our new student populations getting more access to college classes while they're still in high school.
Yeah. So just to give you those numbers, thanks for saying that, Dave. The first cohort, which is the 2022-23, has taken up to this moment 63 college level credits. The cohort from 23-24 has taken 119 college credits. It's on their transcripts. And then I mentioned what the ones are currently taking. So yeah, so they're creating a transcript. They're on a pathway, and we're hoping to get them a degree and a better job at the end of it. You're muted.
100. What was that number? 100. The 23-24 cohort has taken X number of
119 college credits.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's not just a one-off. It's not just a intro class of, some usefulness. It's they're in curriculum. They're in a program path. All right. Without further ado, hearing no other questions, I'm going to move on to the second thing. The second thing that I'm going to highlight is we have created what we're calling an advanced automated manufacturing engineering 2-year degree. So the tech jobs of our community are in manufacturing. We are, by all researchers' opinions, we're in the 4th industrial revolution. And the 4th industrial revolution is smart technologies. And we are feeling the pressure of that. We have smart cars. We have smart refrigerators. I don't know what that even looks like. I can't even imagine in my house. That would be a scary proposition. But smart factories. We have a program. We have lots of programs, but one of them is like industrial maintenance. And it's all technology. You have to understand coding, and it's not walking around with an oil can like they used to in the old days. So everything is tech. So the tech jobs, we have manufacturing in our community. So a few years ago, the county came to us and said, we're buying this building and we would like you to be the anchor institution, and we would like to make this, and we're calling it Western Maryland Works. And we're envisioning that the county would run the makerspace side. Would you take your machining, welding, and bring it to this building? And we said, we're outgrowing our campus building. We would love to. So we took over a third of the 33,000 square foot under roof. We have now taken the whole building. We have all 33,000 square foot. We have expanded it. We've expanded machining, welding. We do all sorts of certifications in the process of getting AWS certified. We have plasma welders. We have a whole host of things in the welding. We have a machining room, which you see in that kind of middle picture there, where we teach them all the manual machining, but we also have CNC machines. And that under our roof, we have about $9 to $10 million worth of equipment. And so we have a machining section, we have a woodworking section, we have a robotics section, manufacturing robotics, in which you have to be able to program an arm to do the same movements, 10 million times. So we have a robotics area. We have 3D printers, including a really, really cool 3D metal printer. So we can program the computer and it will print out of whatever metal cartridge we put in. It could be something as simple as a ring all the way up to an engine part. So we have 3D printing, and then we have fabrication, which is part of our makerspace where they can come in, do 3D printing, or also banners or t-shirts or a whole host of other things. So under this one roof, we expanded when the county said, hey, do you want to take up the rest of it and expand out the makerspace? I then went to our local school system and made a pitch. And my pitch was this. You have a reputation problem. We have a reputation problem. The high-flying kids don't want to go to the tech center because that's where the slow kids who don't have an option go to. We are always the second chance school. They're going to go to University of Maryland, and then if they can't get in there, then they come to us. You also have equipment from the 70s in your machining program. You cannot offer some training because the equipment doesn't even have the safety features that are on modern equipment. I have an idea. How about if you bus your kids who are in the machining program and use our equipment? We will do a true dual enrollment in which they are sufficing for their curriculum at the tech center, but they're training on state-of-the-art equipment. Like I mentioned, we have $10 million worth of equipment. So have them come here during the day, your instructor, who then becomes our instructor, and we will train these kids in this advanced manufacturing engineering degree. We have anywhere from 15 to 20 students in that program each year. They graduate and they go become inspectors and tool die gauge makers and machinists at Northrop Grumman. They work at Jet Propulsion. They work at Berry Plastics. And in our community, those jobs start at $55,000. Those are family sustaining wages out of high school. And that's to start with a 6-month bump and a whole host of things. So the students come here about 2 to 3 days out of the week. They can do some of their didactics at the high school. They bus them in. They have lunch, bagged lunch for them. They stay here and they do everything they need to on the CNC machines. They could be welding. They could be doing a variety of things. Now, in the certifications that we have, industry recognized certifications, for the 2-year degree, we have 20 industry recognized certifications. You get an associate's and you get 20 of these certifications. 2 in AutoCAD, 1 in Stratasys 3D printing, 2 in robotics, and 15 in NIMS, N-I-M-S. Now, the NIMS certification is the machining certifications. Those have they are industry recognized. They are the gold standard. So we offer NIMS 1 and 2. Broadly speaking, the 20 underneath that. In high school, they can sit for up to 16 of them. So by the time they graduate from high school, they could potentially have the 2-year associates. More likely than not, they don't have all the classes. They don't have all the wraparound classes, but they will have, if they completed all those courses, up to 16 industry recognized certifications. Then they come to us for a semester, maybe a year if they need to. They can get the degree and then the other industry recognized certifications. This is a pretty big program. We've been pretty excited about it. It fits what I think the future of higher education is, because in this one building, I have retrained workers who have been laid off. When the paper mill closed in our community, nobody knew what to do. We were all saying we wanted to help. We retrained 70 of them. There were 200 that were let go. A lot of them retired because they had aged out, but 70 of them came to us. We retrained them, and they are making family-sustaining wages in our community. So we have retrained workers. We have current incumbent workers who are being upskilled. We have the degree program, which is the advanced manufacturing engineering degree. We have early college dual enrollment students. And then I haven't even talked about the makerspace, which we have makers. In full disclosure, I'm considered a maker because I go in and do woodworking in there. We offer classes and trainings. It's my happy place. So in the woodworking shop, we have, once again, machinery and equipment that a home person could not even touch. We have classes in how to use the equipment, safety features. And then we have kind of like you would get at a workout place. $10 a day after you've been trained in the safety, you can come in, bring in your wood, and for the entire day, do whatever you want to on all the equipment. We've also brought in some CNC machines that are open to the public, as well as some welding. So that's the makerspace. So the idea for us in the makerspace is we have old houses and we have contractors and people who are entrepreneurs who maybe can't find a certain molding. They can come in and we have an automated robotic woodworking router that will cut that piece of wood into whatever shape you program it. So we're also for entrepreneurs. So in this one building, we have all of these trainings and all of these students. So we're kind of excited about that. We did see that Chesapeake is offering a smaller certificate in machining, and we're happy that that's happening because we know our sister school at Chesapeake has a very similar demographic, and this will help them get the critical skills that they need to get good jobs. So any questions about Western Maryland Works? I've totally bored you to tears, right?
Well, thank you for the, I'm going to hold and stall as people may formulate questions. I appreciate the shout out. You know that our team has visited your facility and we're in fact inspired by much of what they saw. So appreciate the cross-pollination as we have growing and significant manufacturing employers in our own region, just of a different sort. But this committee, Pillar 3, you know, sometimes we advise AIB on policy and other implementation, but other times we share good ideas that we see that are really showing the success of what's possible with the blueprint. And this is that example of the future of education and multiple populations and multiple degree types served in one location. A lot of efficiency to be found there, and really appreciate that partnership between a municipality, a bunch of businesses, a community college, an LEA. When people combine resources, suddenly access increases for students. And where we know we have pinched state budgets and we have question marks about federal grants sometimes, well, you know, how do we pitch in shared resources to expand access? So anyway, any questions?
No, I just wanted to add that Kurt, the Maryland Business Roundtable, especially Leonard and his work, we have appreciated the partnership, and you know, our students have really benefited for you know, being a part of some of those programs. So you know, thank you for what you do there, and it's great to know that we have that as an option for some of our students, where you know, we know that that 4-year is going to be a stretch, or if there's no plan yet.
So Nona, funny story, Carrie Panoni was before Leonard, and Carrie would come and visit us periodically. I had a brilliant idea, and this is a few years ago, that we needed to find a bucket of students to kind of recruit, and we really articulately and sophisticatedly called them non-go-ons. We didn't know what to call them. We called them non-go-ons, meaning they weren't going on to higher education. So what are we doing to reach out to them? I think the literature now calls them non-consumers of higher ed. And so started developing a plan for going after the non-consumers, created this plan, and then Carrie popped across my screen. We started having a conversation, and everything that we were plotting and planning to try to reach out to those students who weren't necessarily going on to higher education, she was already doing. But she was visiting us, and I said, okay, that's going to end. You're not going to come visit us. We're now a partner. You know, we're going to help come, we're going to roll out the red carpet. So instead of you just popping in someday. And so we've been very tight. And as she's handed off to Leonard, because once again, it's not really direct recruiting, but it's helping students to see that they could have a higher educational pathway. And what we know is the high flyers can already see the landscape. It's the ones that aren't sure that they're cut out for it, that they need some assistance to figure out that they can and what it would take to do it and help them envision that and then support them through it. And so Leonard has been a big partner for us, for sure. Along with what Dave was saying, I just left a meeting at the Makerspace in which we were giving a tour to an engineering company that is a smaller startup that has like 40 employees, and all the people used to work at Northrop Grumman, and they want to do some stuff in engineering with aeronautical, which the tolerances are very, very small. You have to know what you're doing. And they were touring us because the economic development arm of the county said, you got to come check out Western Maryland Works. Because if you're going to do any training or if you need any programs that would directly feed into you, here it is. So I just left them. And so that was county government there, us, you know, having a conversation to see what it would look like. And it might be just continuing education, workforce development trainings. It might be the degree program. It might be a great partnership that, you know, we create a whole nother track in some way. So we're having those conversations because that's what it's there for. And once again, that's the economic development of our community, is this one building.
I really want to just applaud the work. It's kind of overwhelming. And so when you say, excuse me, when you say, are there any questions? I think, at least for me, I'm still processing all the information that was presented. And I keep thinking, or what resonates with me is the thought that, you know, this future workforce, we all have to be in a state of constant learning. It doesn't just stop. And then when we think about a traditional definition of higher ed versus what it means to just constantly learn, whether you're doing it for college credits or certification or the next step as part of your career, I think that you guys are doing a great job with kind of framing that and being on the forefront of framing that for all of your constituents and those of us in the rest of the state.
Thank you.
I echo that. And I'm just thinking, you know, that was quite an undertaking just with building that facility alone. Because I'm thinking about this as a previous CTE director, and I know how difficult it is to secure the equipment and maintain it. So to be able to have that partnership is great, because that's a way to braid funding, I'm sure, with the LEAs. But I had a question regarding students and like how it's marketed to students, because what I find is in this career path really is open to lots of different avenues when it comes to a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, a graduate degree, going directly into the workforce. And I think that's what you're highlighting with this is there's the capability of having a IRC, and there's job opportunities there. And I think that tends to be missing with engineering. There's a misconception that you're going straight to a 4-year college. So I guess my question is, how do you, because I could see the value in any student being in this program, students who, because I could see who you're targeting, your non-consumers, but what about the students that do have a kind of a trajectory, and this could also benefit them as well for getting a head start and going to college with IRCs? Are you targeting both groups of students? I'm just curious of like how that is marketed to students so that there's an understanding of how it could benefit anyone.
So we're trying to hit them all, because we can't be selective. We will take them all to get critical mass. I probably couldn't have had a 2-year degree if I didn't have the dual enrollment early college already coming. because they become part of our program. So if I didn't have that, 15 to 16 students come in on a regular basis, it probably wouldn't have worked because it's been a little bit steeper climb to get students outside of that channel. It's because they're not able to see it. Now, because it's advanced manufacturing engineering, it's different than mechanical, it's different than chemical, it's different than the traditional pathways. It's not as heavy in the math, even though there is some. It is slightly different, and I've been criticized for that. But in our community, these are the jobs that are required based on and the industry recognized certifications and the outcomes that we have in the classes. If they wish to go back, it's not perfectly, and this is the heartburn I have, it's not perfectly mirrored with our four-year partner, which is 8 miles up the road, which I would love to have a seamless transfer in which all of their credits transfer and they just go in as a junior. I've made that offer if they're willing to do it. They just haven't reached back to say, yeah, we figured it out. So there would be some coursework they would have to do additionally than what we're offering, because we know what kind of job level that we're doing. Now, that said, once they get into that job, there are avenues or opportunities up. Just because they came in with only an associate's degree, we do offer trainings, and Northrop Grumman comes to us and says, hey, we need trainings on this. This is a new piece of equipment that we're going to need. We get grants. Sometimes they help us out. We get the piece of equipment. We design the trainings, and then they can send their kids here, or we're training the kids here. So then they will be ready when they go to Northrop Grumman. So we're trying to prepare them as best as we can, knowing it's not perfectly aligned. We are trying to get some of the higher flyer students, because once again, we still have that reputation at our tech center. That's just where the kids that don't have other options go. And so we're trying to change that. So we do open houses in which students who are just interested, don't commit to it, come to the open house, and it's not going to be a lot of talking guys in suits. We're going to say, welcome, here's some food. Let's go check out the equipment and let's get your hands on it, because that demographic wants to do something with their hands. They want to do something with their brains. They don't want to be talked at. And so then they can see we have projects that are there that are being NIMS certified, because they have to produce something on the CNC machine within tolerances of 1/1000th. That's kind of cool. And so then you can see what they're going to be doing. We also did on the outside of our machining, every student graduate that comes through, whether it's from the tech center or us, goes up after they get a job and goes up there. So you can see the over 12 recent graduates that went to Northrop Grumman. We've trained maybe over the years about 80 of them from the tech center and us that are now working at Northrop Grumman. So then they get to see, oh, there are jobs here. There is a pathway. So we try to help them see that by the success stories on the outside. So we're trying our best. Do I wish there was more enrollment? Yes. But I think it's going to be one of those things we have to be patient, that the pathway is going to be created over a period of probably 5 years. That the students are going to say, hey, and 2 of our recent graduates, they walked across the stage to get their diploma at the same time as earning our associate's degree. These kids were high flyers. They have jobs. They walked across the stage with jobs in hand at Northrop Grumman.
That's amazing.
We gave them a call and said, these 2 kids are really bright, and they could have gone anywhere, but this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to stay in the community. This is the job that they wanted, and it was a perfect pathway for them.
Well, thank you for those examples, which are inspiring. It's amazing. I want to give you a few minutes to talk about mental health, or your third bullet. I want to also acknowledge that we are headed toward 350, where we want to try to pass the torch to PG. So please share.
So what Dave is saying nicely is, Kurt, keep it brief. Yeah, which you can see I get passionate about it and I struggle to be brief. All right, this last one we received, and this is grant, and we're trying to figure out the sustainability of it long-term. We received an $800,000 grant. We are a Center for Mind-Body Medicine site. I have about 26 employees that are trained and facilitators in mind-body wellness. Now, the reason we did this was Years ago, we got an opioid crisis grant in which we wanted to teach self-regulation techniques to kids in school. Because in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, opioids and substance abuse had taken its hold. And so what happens is when people can't self-regulate, they're overwhelmed, they feel hopeless, they feel helpless, they reach for a substance that gives them a semblance of regulation. And so we wanted to reach kids sooner to say, instead of reaching for a substance or a bottle, how about if we teach you some really simple, fast skills and techniques for you to be in control of yourself and your stress? And so that's what we started doing. This grant allows us to go into every K through 12 school. Every kid in Allegheny County will be seen by a facilitator at least once and taught at least one mind-body skills technique. That could be soft belly breathing. That could be meditating. It could be a whole host of things that we do. And so we're going in K through 12. We tone it down for the younger kids. We tone it up if it's high school to tell them the benefits that are going on within their body. And so at this point, we have over 4,000 students that have been served, and we're going back through and doing it again. We have, that's tier 1. We have 44 students that are in tier 2. And in tier 2, what the students do is they agree to attend 10 extra sessions outside the school day, in which they're called mind-body skills group, in which it's a deeper dive, and they're taught more about the physiology, the reason for the training, what it does to their body and the benefits of it. And in those 10 additional, we're seeing, well, yeah, I said 44 students in those 10 additional groups. What I didn't know when I first kind of mentioned it to Dave and to Dr. Pearson is that local businesses thought it was such a great idea. They reached out to us, and in those 44 students, if they attend all the sessions, they are given a gift certificate for $120 pair of new sneakers. So 2 of our sneaker companies said, we would love to encourage this because we see the benefit of teaching them mind-body skills to self-regulate so that they don't become addicted in the future. And we want to support that. And if they come in and they want a pair of shoes that's over 140, we'll look the other way. So each one of these students, if they do all 10 of the groups, and we're seeing attendance rates in the 90 percentile. So students, what we find, eat this up. We do this on our campus. Our academic development students, those students that are not at the college level, it is baked into our coursework, our academic development coursework, because they tend to be the under-resourced, the under-leveraged. They have stressful lives. Sometimes they're single parents. Sometimes they're working 2 jobs. So what are they doing to take care of themselves? Well, test anxiety, we know, hinders their academic performance. So can we teach them some self-regulation techniques in the academic development courses to the students who are the most at risk, could benefit them in their academic career with us? And so they leave those courses with some very practical skills. We also do mind-body skills group on campus. I took one of our rooms as we moved and shuffled services around, and I redid the room, and it is our Serenity room. And all of the groups are held there. It's like no other room on campus. It's comfortable. It doesn't look businessy. It looks like a place you just want to go hang out and chill and kind of breathe a little bit more deeply. And so all of the groups are done in the Serenity room. It's also open during the day to faculty and staff. So this grant, we're reapplying for it. We've been told that because they like the outcomes and the benefits of it, that we're likely to get it again. We run it through the CE. So CE Workforce Development. We have a coordinator that is in charge of that. And then we know in 2 years, we'll get the FTEs through the state of Maryland. So basically, we're using the grant to pay the instructors to go in, as well as any of the support stuff that we need going in and teaching these students. All of our facilitators had a special training with specialists in child learning, child development. Any questions on mind-body skills? At one point, we did a training on campus right around the time of COVID. Literally the next day after our training, the world shut down. That was the timing of it. We weren't sure we were going to get it through, but we had 10 of the community colleges send teams, and they were trained in this. So we know that there's 10 community colleges that we have at least 2 people that were trained in the methodology and are trying to replicate their version of that elsewhere. Any questions on that? Again, I took the oxygen out of the room.
Maybe it's all. So awesome work there. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, increasing access through skill building, leading to student resilience and coping. So cool and much needed. And maybe we all need a little bit of that. So thank you.
I know I do.
Okay, Olivia, do you want to introduce your group if there are no other questions?
Sure. I have the pleasure of working with this group of folks on the 3D Scholars Program, Prince George's 3D Scholars Program, which is a program in Prince George's County that services students through their bachelor degree attainment. And so I am going to, let me see if I can share my screen. I've been having some technical difficulties earlier, but it may be better now. Here we go. And so I want to introduce our invitees, Ms. Tamisha Allow, Ms. Sarah Prince, and Ms. Danielle Haynes. And we can go ahead and get started as soon as I can figure out how to play my slideshow.
Just go over to slideshow, Olivia, the drop down slideshow. Up, keep going up to your right. Up with the arrow. Come out of that area and go all the way over to your right, close to your picture where it says slideshow. There's a drop down arrow. There you go.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you. I missed it. All right. Take it away, Ms. Allow.
Okay, wonderful. So again, my name is Ms. Tamisha Allow, and I am the program coordinator for the Prince George's County Public Schools side of the 3D Scholar Program. It is a partnership between 3 institutions: PGCPS School System, Prince George's Community College, and the University of Maryland Global Campus. And honestly, it is in keeping with the theme of creating access for students that aren't typically able not only to attend college, but to attend college for free, to receive a higher education for free. And it is a 3-degree program only located at Charles Herbert Flowers High School. Our students are able to acquire their high school diploma through Prince George's County Public Schools, an associate's degree through Prince George's Community College, and a bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland Global Campus on a tuition-free scholarship. As you can see, it says for less than $10,000. No student in the history of the inception of the 3D Scholars Program has ever paid anything like $10,000. Even with our students having formally paying for the Prince George's Community College portion, which was the only portion that asked for a family contribution, it was at a 50% tuition discount. So certainly that $10,000 has never applied to any graduating or participating student, for that matter, in the 3D Scholar Program. Next slide. So again, 3 degrees, and we have 3 areas of study. The 3 areas of study are business administration, criminal justice, and cybersecurity technology. And I just want to speak about these areas of study very briefly, in that they were highly vetted to be some of the most employable areas of study that any college can offer. And I say that because we all know people that went to college and majored in something that they actually do not work in the area of study that they selected to major in. And business administration is so broad that, and it encompasses every aspect of any working company. Criminal justice, the umbrella of career opportunities that encompass criminal justice are all the way from an officer of the court, an attorney at law, all the way to what we just saw yesterday, an inauguration. So that right there is evidence of the vast offerings of criminal justice. And then cybersecurity technology is honestly the wave of the future. And our students that are selecting cybersecurity technology, we have evidence that they are coming out making top salaries immediately upon getting certifications and also their degree. I have one student, I hope he's able to attend. He actually was trying to come in from his government job. That was a cybersecurity major. Cybersecurity is driven off of certifications. He actually received his first certification when he was still in high school, right at the end of his high school career, his Security Plus. He went on to PGCC, acquired his next certification. He just graduated from UMGC, this is him calling, and is in his area of study. Just one moment.
So we will keep moving. And so the 3D Scholar Program benefits. And so a definitive path directly through a bachelor's degree. So the first dual enrollment course that a student takes actually counts towards their bachelor's degree. And so one of the difficulties that a lot of students face in transfer is the loss of credits. And it sometimes can have a disproportionate effect on certain groups of students. And so being able to ensure that no credit is lost from high school all the way through their bachelor's degree is extremely important.
I completely apologize. That was the student that, the universe knows when someone is being spoken about. He was calling to let me know that he was just getting in, and I apologize, but I'm so excited for him to, actually be able to share with you through his own testimony. And so I thank you for being patient and allowing me to take that phone call. So just going back to what I was sharing about the areas of study being highly vetted as highly employable. All of our students that have graduated within their respective areas of study are able to secure employment in those areas of study. The young man that I spoke about, cybersecurity, again, is based off certifications. The very base level Security Plus certification garners a earning salary of $79,500. As a young person coming out of college with zero debt, that is a wonderful springboard into not only your adult responsibilities, but just your career at large. Some of the other benefits of the 3D Scholars Program is it is a definitive pathway. From the time you declare the area of study that out of the three that we have, what direction you are going to. There's no fumbling around or trying to figure out what your area of study is once you get to college. From the very first college course that you take, you are working on a bachelor's degree in that said selected area of study. So there are no other programs on the Eastern Seaboard that follow you all the way through to the bachelor's. So that's one of the very unique aspects of the 3D Scholars Program. There are very many early middle college programs that allow you to achieve the associate status, but to all the way to the bachelor's, we are definitely pioneers in that respect. Also, the high touch guidance that our students receive. I heard about that with the previous program. Our students have one designated professional school counselor on the high school level, as well, once they become duly enrolled, an advisor that helps guide them through their degree maps accordingly. And once they finish Flowers High School, they transition to PGCC full-time and also enjoy that same high-touch advising that helps them navigate the completion of the PGCC portion. And then when they go to University of Maryland Global Campus, they have what is called a success coach. I have met a few of the success coaches. And when I say not only do our students receive advisement on how to navigate their remaining course load, but they also get advisement on, depending on what their area of study is, for instance, what law school to attend based upon what type of law they want to go into, career leads. And so that is just one of the many benefits of the program. We provide transportation for our students because our students come from all over the county. We also provide transportation in a limited capacity to and from the college campus. We host a summer bridge annually where our students are able to be exposed to not only the high school that they're about to attend, but also the program that they are going to participate in and the partners that are going to be with them throughout the entire pathway of the program. And that's including Prince George's Community College and the University of Maryland Global Campus. And we also host quarterly workshops to assist with different aspects of the program and their participation and their successful participation. For instance, for our incoming ninth graders, we hold time management workshops. We hold organizational skills workshops. For our sophomores, we host workshops that identify the careers that go along with the different areas of study. Next slide. Okay, so again, back to the access that the 3D Scholars Program provides. Our students need to maintain a 2.5 GPA in order to remain eligible for participation in the 3D Scholars Program. And that's unheard of in a dual enrollment program. And that leads to a degree holding program. 2.5, this means that those high flyers that the previous program director spoke about are not the only ones that have the opportunity to enjoy a higher education for free. 2.5 allows the student to maybe have a bad semester or a bad quarter and allow us to provide interventions and additional support so that they can maintain their eligibility, not only on the high school end of the 3D Scholars Program, but also on the PGCC college end of the 3D Scholars Program. They will acquire 30 credit hours toward their associate's degree while they're in high school is the minimum requirement. 30 credit hours, which is halfway towards their associates while they're in high school. Now, the wonderful thing about this program is our students have opportunities on two sides of the pathway to accelerate. One of the places where they can accelerate is on the high school level. And so we have students every year that endeavor to acquire their full associates at the same time that they graduate from high school with their high school diploma. This year, we have 5 to 6 students that are accelerating and will finish their associate's degree in tow with their high school diploma. We have a student that graduated from high school last year with his associates in tow, and I just attended his graduation from the University of Maryland Global Campus in December. He has finished his bachelor's degree. He is 19 years old. He is on his way to law school at 19 years old. So once our students finish the minimum of 30 credit hours towards their associate's degree, the next step in the pathway is Prince George's Community College, where our students must also maintain a 2.5 GPA, as we did in the high school portion of the program. We ensure that our students do not have to pay for any portion of this program. Remember, I said that word free at the beginning, a free higher education. And so thanks to the Promise Scholarship, our students are able to graduate with a 3.0 or higher GPA because of their dual enrollment endeavors. And they do not have to pay anything once they attend PGCC outside of maybe some textbooks. But other than that, their stay at PGCC is free as well, and they still must only maintain a 2.5 GPA. The remaining 30 credit hours or less that they have to complete their associate's degree is a 1-year endeavor. 1-year endeavor. And so our students, the last portion of the program is the University of Maryland Global Campus, where they have a tuition-free scholarship waiting for them with their name on it immediately once they are accepted into the program. And I just want to invite Ms. Danielle Haynes to speak about the University of Maryland Global Campus portion of it, because I'm just so excited. I get overwhelmed, but I would love Danielle to just talk about that last portion of the pathway of the 3D Scholars Program.
Thanks, Tamisha. I would love the opportunity to share the last step for students in the 3D Scholars Program here at UMGC. We're always very delighted to serve those students. And on a personal note, as a Prince George's Community Public School success story, I'm always happy to serve those students as well, and feel that this is a wonderful opportunity for them in completing their bachelor's degree. Dr. Allow spoke a little bit about the high touch advising, but I just wanted to reiterate a few points. Once these students transfer into UMGC, our team is excitingly waiting for their arrival up until we assist them with their application. We host an orientation for those students. We have an advisor that goes through their transfer college credits that they've received at PGCC. Once they've enrolled in courses with us, in which they're required to enroll in our spring and fall term full-time, which is 12 credits here. They are assigned a success coach, and our success coaches are wonderful. They're with these 3D Scholar students from the start until the end of graduation. And in the next few slides, you'll see one of them actually who traveled from New York just to congratulate and celebrate with one of her 3D Scholar students that she had been advising since the very first time they enrolled in courses with us. But like I mentioned, very much in high touch advising portion. We also, our financial aid costs throughout their program in the 60 credits here at UMGC. The 3 program areas, business administration, criminal justice, and cybersecurity, like Dr. Allow said, very high demand program areas that these students can go into, and our program chairs at UMGC also guides these students and presents to them along the way. We also have a number of different career services that these students can utilize in terms of also mentorship, career mentorships. Many of the students need assistance with in which path in this program area that they would like to go in once they've completed, or even once they've started courses with us. So we have that as well. And then we also offer a virtual career fair every year that we encourage our 3D Scholar students to register for and attend to present themselves and their resumes to potential employers. We've had 5 graduates this past winter. I'm not sure if Dr. Allow mentioned that, but overall in the program, we've had 9 graduates So again, something we truly love serving these students at UMGC. Thank you, guys.
And one other, it's not a minor detail, but I would be remiss without mentioning the GPA requirement is different for the tuition-free scholarship. All of our students have to maintain, in order to keep their scholarship, is a 2.0 GPA. This is unheard of in the scholarship world, but it also speaks to the access that has been the common theme in this discussion this afternoon. For a student that is not typically a high flyer to be able to walk away with a higher education degree, debt-free, while maintaining a 2.0, which means life can happen, as we know it sometimes does, where our students aren't able to have a successful quarter. And maybe there were some hiccups. This means that our students will not lose their scholarship. Typically, higher education scholarships come along with much rigorous requirements, including a 3.0 or higher. But in keeping with the theme of creating access for students that are not typically able to receive a higher education for free, our students only must maintain a 2.0 GPA to keep that scholarship. And many of our students work while they're acquiring their bachelor's degree. They only have 60 credits left once they actually get to the UMGC portion. And remember, I said there's 2 instances where our students can accelerate. And the next young person that is actually joining us today as a living example of what the 3D Scholars Program actually puts out, also accelerated, as many of our students do once they get on the PGCC side, and has been gainfully employed. And so with no further ado, Charles Estrada just graduated in December with his bachelor's degree. Charles, please share your testimonial about your participation in the 3D Scholars Program, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Lau. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so the experience was definitely a ride for me, but it was extremely fulfilling because, like Ms. Lau said, I was able to work while I was also studying. It's one of the biggest benefits of the 3D Scholars Program for me. The reason it's so valuable for me is because I was able to get internships while I was still getting my degree. My degree was in cybersecurity. Yours might be in business management or in criminal justice, but in IT specifically, it's incredibly important to be able to get work experience, excuse me, outside of being a student, because in cybersecurity specifically, it's an incredibly saturated field I'm starting to learn. And, you have to stand out, and you stand out by getting internships, by getting high marks and everything. But, it also stands out when you see on your resume that you are getting an internship while still being at the college, right? So having that online experience is incredibly important to give you that flexibility. It's also very difficult. You're going to have to learn, as I did, very quickly, that you will have to study a different way, right? You can't, it's different when you have lecture time in a class that you dedicate, for studying, and when you are at home with many distractions. You have to find a space, make a space that is distraction free, put your phone away, whatever it is, and come up with a studying style that works for you, right? So that's going to be the biggest thing, I would say. I would recommend for anyone who's going to go to UMGC or will later after the PGCC, you have to find out how to do that effectively. But yeah, the program was extremely fulfilling for me. I now have a full-time job in IT, thanks to the program and being able to get that experience. I mean, I had an internship with NASA, and I'm now working with the DoD. So it's extremely fulfilling, and I'm now actually getting experience at an age where normally you would still be studying, right? So it's, very good for me. And, if there's time, if anybody has any questions after the meeting or anything, I'm totally down to explain more further if you need, because it is very overwhelming for sure, as it was for me when I first started. But, you can still get through it. You just have to, kind of get some things organized, and organization is key, especially with remote like learning. So, but yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much, Charles, for agreeing to come into our meeting. And I guess this time we've got a couple of minutes if anyone wants to ask any questions of any of our 3D Scholars team. So, of course, our student Charles, our graduate, I shouldn't say student, our graduate Charles, Ms. Lau, the program coordinator, Danielle at UMGC, and Sarah Prince. We didn't hear from you yet this afternoon, but if there's anything else that you want to add, or if anyone has questions for our community college partner as well.
Yeah, because I was in both PGCC and UMGC. So if anybody has any questions about, well, the entire process at all, now was a good time.
I did want to piggyback on what you said, Charles, about most of your counterparts that you graduated high school with are actually still in college because you participated in an accelerated program. And not only are you gainfully employed, but I heard you just casually say DOD. And that's a government position, and that is wonderful.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would not otherwise be available to me if I was not if I didn't have an internship previously. Because as anyone in IT will know, any IT position in the government, and honestly in general, but the government specifically, is incredibly competitive. And it's very difficult to get a job when you only have your degree or you haven't gotten your degree yet. Right. If you have an intern, if you're looking to get an internship, I for example, just to put a number out there, when I got my internship, specifically with NASA previously, before I was working for the DoD, I applied to between 75 and 100 internships in one summer. And I only got a response for an interview from 2. And that was this was after the height of COVID. So this wasn't even when remote was incredibly popular and everything, I still had to go to the office stuff. So this was still I would say these were not the most in demand positions. It's pretty crazy. So you really have to stand out. But I feel one of the biggest things for me was just my work ethic. It was kind of, if you're clearly interested, the interviewers they like that. So if you show that you want it and you show that you're willing to put in the effort, that goes a long way. And I think that was incredibly important for me. In fact, the offer I got for this job was actually also at Flowers. While I was in Flowers, there was a job fair, or an information session, and that's where they explained it to me, or showed me it. It just took so long for the process that I was still able to get the experience, and it got me a better position. So, it worked. It was all good. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about any of that process, I'm guessing there's a lot of students here who are also going through the process right now, or no?
Well, actually, Charles, this is a state meeting with folks from all over the state. One student member is here from Howard County, and everyone else is all over the state, just sharing experiences with different programs and experiences with community college as part of a high school experience.
I see. Okay. Yeah, no, it was, I definitely was a very good experience. And I will say, I would not have found what I like and what I am actually interested in doing if it wasn't for the program. I would have found it a lot later. I specifically like computer networking, but that was one of the first few classes I took in my cybersecurity degree. It was actually at PG. And I wouldn't have, found that otherwise, right? I didn't like coding. I didn't cybersecurity is also good, but it's I don't really want to do that so much yet. And networking is more fun for me. It's more hands-on and it's like solving a puzzle. So, that kind of stuff I wouldn't have been able to find out so early. And they, interviewers and people young people who are motivated. And, you know, high school students don't really get a lot of opportunities to get shown these kinds of things. So yeah, it was very good for me.
Great job hitting the nail on the head for acceleration. Like in addition to access, the other blueprint anchor is accelerating path to employment, giving students like a paved highway into exciting jobs in their own backyard that they may not have seen otherwise. So it's an awesome case in point. Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
My follow-up to Dave's, so Charles, if I hear you correctly, it's the pavement that Dave is talking about, which means between institutions, it was probably seamless or smooth. Because what we often hear from students is, oh, I was fine at that institution, but when I went to the next one, that was problematic, or the next one. So it sounded like everything was pretty seamless and smooth, the transitions between. Is that correct?
For me, the transitions were pretty smooth. I had to put in like a good amount of effort to make sure that everything was going smoothly, because you know everyone that's working through this college program also has a lot of other things they're doing at the same time, like everyone at UMGC and stuff. But my transition to PGCC was probably the easiest because I was already in high school, and you know there was good communication between me and the coordinators, so we were able to set everything up very seamlessly. And I would just start my next semester. And it was so good to the point where I only had to take like a couple classes at the high school because there were only so many requirements that you had to take, because all of my credits for math, science, and you know other things were all met by my college courses. So I only needed like one or two classes. That's how well it was organized for me. I can't speak to everyone other people's experiences because I know some people in my cohort who had some issues, but I definitely had a really, really seamless experience. And like and like you said, it was just everything was accelerated. Like I wouldn't have found it otherwise. And like in cybersecurity specifically, you know, you got like you got programming, you have networking, you have the actual cybersecurity and defense and stuff. And like those are all fields that you kind of would have to find out on your own later, many years later, or in other fields, right? After having worked in those fields that you actually enjoy. So I didn't have to do that. And it just made the process so much better for me.
And that's big for Maryland, right? Because the demand in your field is outstripping the supply in some ways because of the growth there. But also in other technology education fields, retirements may be outpacing new hires. So it just speaks to the importance of that acceleration, that pavement. The seamless transfer, you get to save students time and money. And if the transfer works seamlessly, if the credits are accepted, then you get quicker path to workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. That was absolutely my experience, and I like loved it.
Just statewide value. Thank you. Yeah. Well, Dr. Pearson, what do you think?
Well, we have 6 minutes left in the meeting. And so I'm not sure if anyone has any questions or any comments. I know that was a lot to take in. So I guess I'll give everyone a couple minutes to digest. And if we don't have anything else, we can absolutely end early.
So I think this was very impressive, and really looking at the dual enrollment and ways to really accelerate students' opportunities to earn college credits or enter the workforce. But for both our community colleges, and this might not be your area, so you may not be able to answer this, but I was just wondering, on the career counseling piece of Blueprint, how are you partnering with your LEAs and your local workforce boards?
So when you say LEAs, who are you referring to, like advisors?
Well, actually, I was talking to the two from the community colleges that they have. But Charles, congratulations. I mean, you know, cybersecurity. I know you're probably happy working with DoD, but you know, you get your security clearance. I represent Anne Arundel County, so there are a lot of defense contractors are definitely looking for a cybersecurity workforce. So you're definitely in the right industry.
It's very true. Yeah.
And quick answer to your question, Kirkland. Our workforce board serves the same 5 counties that we do, And we are co-located and work as hand in glove as we can statutorily, and so have great relationship. And with the LEAs, I mean, we meet at minimum monthly, but more frequently than that, just to make sure that career counseling piece is running smoothly and sharing resources, because we all serve the same kind of rural counties. So there's no other option but to share our resources. So I mean, Robin could speak to it. We're learning how to work better together all the time.
Yeah, I second Dave. We're unique with us having 5 LEAs, but I think that we all kind of understand each other and have similar challenges. So it's nice to be able to collaborate with others. And we meet regularly with the college and our WIB. So yeah, I feel like we've done a good job of being able to have open conversations about navigating some of the challenges that have come along.
I would answer it in a couple of ways. First, we've been having internal meetings on Blueprint for over 2 years now at the community college, because we knew that the LEA needed to understand it. They needed to do their data. And so we had the workforce board as part of our biweekly meetings. And so they were there, and we wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page, because sometimes we were interpreting the blueprint in a different way, or quite frankly, we had a really crazy idea about what we think we could have done. At one point, we were talking about opening up a daycare center on campus, donating land. We were really thinking outside the box, trying to help LEA meet the charge. We've talked about it, but it hasn't come to fruition. We were thinking that they need an office in our advising and registration area. We have an open space that could be beneficial, because they've offered, like, hey, we can pay for some of these things, some of the textbooks we could. And so we're having conversations to see if we can make that happen. We're trying to reimagine the area, because quite frankly, we plopped it with lots of doors and hallways, and it's not very welcoming. So we're thinking about blowing up the area, but then including them. So that's going to be very important. There was another, the coaches, and we work with the career coaches in the high schools a lot. We did this, well, heck, probably a decade ago. We have a shared coach, and we called it a coach back in the day, for the last decade, that is paid by ACPS and us, and their job is to have conversations and help the guidance counselors about having conversation with students about a higher education pathway, not just to ACM. Oh, by the way, I work at ACM and they're pretty cool, but if it's University of Maryland, UMGC, whoever it is, let us help you write that letter. Let us help with that. So we've always had that. So the career coaches that they're adding are just adding to that. So we have cross communication, transparent communication up and down and all around.
Just
Quick
gonna
word
add-
from Christy Dreyer and Sarah Prince before we adjourn. Yeah.
I'm just going to add 2 things that we're doing, because we are doing the meetings as well. We're working on developing, in consultation with our workforce board and our LEA, basically career camps for middle school and early high school, so they can explore careers in a really safe way and have a sense and know where they want to go at the end of middle school and high school. And the other thing that we got the opportunity to do is our technical high school can only handle so many bodies or students. And we had the opportunity this year to pilot something where students who were seniors who weren't able to get into the technical school were able to come to Cecil to become a CNA, to get their NCCER workforce, to do electrical, really increasing the workload. And the biggest impact is we're going to graduate about 45 CNAs, which, if you know anything about healthcare, they're in desperate need for certified nursing assistants. So I think that was a fantastic, innovative program that came about through the collaboration of our workforce board and our public schools.
Excellent.
Sarah Prince.
Really great hearing from everyone about all the different opportunities that are happening there in Prince George's County. We have an amazing relationship with Employ Prince George's. They work very closely at our main campus as well as our extension centers. We are a very large county, so it's great to have that additional reach, but also working closely as it relates to filling gaps in high need areas, offering apprenticeships and just kind of complementing each other, having a presence in their job center at their events. And as some of my colleagues at the other community colleges mentioned, just collaborating with the coaches that are embedded in the schools. We have the unique opportunity to have already had what we call coast advisors located within Prince George's public schools, and have already having a great relationship with the schools in that capacity for the dual enrollment transition, but being able to introduce them to additional supports and coaches that will support things that bolster their access, whether it's at the community college or directly through the board. And so it's a great opportunity to even highlight future opportunities where they can earn some of those micro credentials while they're in high school, because we know that not all of our students are going to be able to participate in programs like 3D, early middle college programs. And so really happy to be able to expand on that and create some additional access. But really love hearing about all the other institutions that are doing similar work, very interesting work, and in depth and reaching those students that typically wouldn't have access.
I want to give the last word to Kirkland. Thank you. That was a wonderful conclusion of the access theme, Ms. Prince. And my last word to Kirkland as the co-chair, but just with the note that we reconvene on February 18th to talk about LEA mathematics plans and also career counseling MOUs. So more on this subject. It's a good transition. So Mr. Murray.
So again, this was very, very impressive. I mean, it's really good to see that you guys are doing this great work. I mean, this is one of the things that I think is very important is to make sure that all students have access. And, some cannot do traditional community college hours or, go to 4-year, but giving them this opportunity and to get into the workforce. And Kurt, I text Brandon Butler because you talked about his third child with the makerspace up there, so he's very excited about that you were on here. So just want to thank you guys and sharing the great work you guys are doing. And
thanks, everybody.
I think that's it, everybody. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon.